Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. I have my buddy here, entrepreneur, filmmaker, Christian Alphonse. What's going on, buddy?
Going well, man. How's it going, Dan?
I'm doing well,
Man,
buddy. It's been a
me.
while since my original guest has come on. For all of you that don't know, Christian Alphonse was my first guest, the guy that gave me a shot and said, "Let's see what this
Man,
guy's all about."
no, man. I believe in you, man. I believe in you a lot, man. Like you're go-getter, man. People don't
Thank you,
see
buddy.
that, but you're go-getter. But
Thank you, buddy.
anyways, you're looking clear. Look at you.
Yeah.
Yo, kid. What's the skincare routine? Like, give me the one-on-one, man.
The skincare routine, I just wash my face right before bed. I'm not kidding you. And right when I wake up, well, I take a shower, obviously.
Take a shower,
And
okay.
yeah, like I eat fairly clean, nothing too
hmm
crazy, but I drink. I drink like crazy, man. I drink like a fish. See these?
Drink
I drink
water,
about,
okay.
yeah, I fill this up about, not kidding, 6 to 8 times.
hmm
So I drink a shit ton of water.
And
Uh,
you're not doing the alkaline. I heard people
no,
doing
I
the
don't put any,
alkaline, the
no, no,
mineral
no,
water. No.
no, I don't put any of that crap. But, but, anyway, man, yeah, like
Uh,
it's just, I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm just kind of like, taking care of myself as much as I can. With this pandemic, it's crazy times, and, one of my productions actually
yo,
got canceled because of all these
man,
Ford
yeah,
restrictions. Yeah.
man, yo, Dougie is messing up the whole thing
Yeah.
on Ontario. I just saw that like they finally shut down some places in Toronto.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
people get paid
100%.
sick days, man. That's a big issue. Like,
Well, they're bumping it like they're doing 3 days, $200 a day, which is nothing. I'm sure you know,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
And I don't think they understand, like, a lot of these frontline workers, the reason why they're spreading the virus is because they're forced to go into work because they got
mhm.
bills to pay, rent to pay. Not everyone's fortunate enough to be either living at home or, have a strong financial situation. So I
Yeah,
don't know why the government doesn't realize that. And it's just a double-edged sword. That's what comes to mind with this pandemic. It's, you do this and then you get bit in the ass for that, right? Like with this whole sick day thing, it's like,
man.
you got these people, like, you don't want them to spread the virus. A lot of these factory workers probably, look at Amazon, right? 600 employees, but yet you won't give them the incentive to stay home if they are sick with a proven
Mhm.
COVID test. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like comes down to one thing only. Like I always say, it comes down to money, man. Like
Yeah.
it's just money. You know,
Yeah.
Pe-
Yeah. Yeah.
people don't wanna spend money, especially business owners. The worst thing is that like small business owners, like they don't have the cash to pay their employees for paid sick days.
Right.
Like companies like Metro, Loblaws, like those bigger corporations, they have a lot of cash and they can definitely pay for paid sick days. But why would they if they don't have to? If it's not legally obligated for them to do it. So it's interesting times, man. But meanwhile, Costco's doing a great thing. I don't know if you're hearing what Costco's doing. Costco's taking care of their
Uh,
employees. They're
well,
like
yeah,
giving them all the
Costco's.
benefits. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, no, no.
Yeah,
I'm saying
man.
Costco's always been. I know, a favorite with that, especially with when I was looking for a part-time job. Like their salary at the time, their wage. I mean, what was it, $10 at the time I was looking for my first part-time job, and they were
That's
already
solid.
offering like 15, 16, which is
hmm
close to what it is now with
Yeah.
$14. Excuse me.
Mm.
And now I think it's even 18, 19. I could be wrong, but I remember a friend of mine working there and telling me that. Like, that's crazy. What an
Yo, yeah.
incentive, right?
Oh man, like, and that's how you keep people. People don't get that. That's how you keep people.
I know, I know
Like,
you're biased about that my Netflix book because with the CEO writing it, but that's one of the things he mentioned, buddy. He's
fucking like
like,
read off of
pay
it. Jeez.
pay
Go
pay
ahead.
your talent. No, but one principle you got right that you can agree on is pay your
Yeah.
talent, right,
Yeah, I
buddy?
paid
You
them.
pay your talent what they deserve, if not
Yeah.
more, because that's how you keep
Yeah.
them, right?
Stop thinking your talent cares as much as your business as you do. That's another big issue. I see a lot of people thinking like, "Oh, I paid this guy money, so what?"
Yeah, I know it's
They're
well.
not gonna care as much as you do. Make sure business for them. They have a family. They have a
It,
life.
of course, and that's, back to, it's just that incentive. Like, me, I love my Gary V, and
Mm.
he says that, he goes, your employees aren't going to care about your business as much as you.
You're
You can't
very,
expect them
yeah,
to, right? And that's with you. We were talking before the podcast about your
yeah,
business, right? Curate and 94
yeah,
Productions. If I take someone on, if you partner with someone, right?
yeah,
Yeah, hopefully if they're 50-50, they take, care or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, if it's your baby, if it's really something that you believe in, like the vision from start to finish, you're going to be always the one that's putting in the hours more than
yeah,
anyone, right?
yeah. Exactly. And as you know, the hardest thing of every business is getting the ball rolling. I don't think people understand that as well. Like being consistent. That's why I applauded you. I was like, man,
Thanks, buddy. Yeah.
since when you started when? Like earlier, like this year? I
Last
think
week, last
last
week of December, we had our
December.
first
Yes,
podcast. Yeah.
exactly. And like trust me, I'm sure there are a lot of people that started a podcast sitting the same time you started a podcast and like did one episode and completely stopped. Like I myself included. Like I didn't even release my episode. I was so busy.
The
But
episode that I was on.
yeah.
The world
Man,
needs to
but
see. Release the cut.
yo, release it. You can release it on my behalf, man.
No,
I'm just
no.
so
Yeah, yeah,
busy, man. But so
yeah.
busy. But yeah, like you said, like it's so busy trying to like be focused on one thing. And I think we spoke about that recently. Like at least last time we spoke was just like making time and sacrifices and just focusing on the thing that's gonna give you the most value. People don't get
Yeah,
that.
it's a very. I want to say thank you again for like commending my consistency. I don't really. Sometimes when you're in the driver's seat, you don't really see what's going on because you're so focused on the destination.
Hmm.
But I do. I am very grateful. I have a lot of people that actually have reconnected with me
Hmm.
or DM me. People either in the industry, in film, or just friends I haven't talked to in a long time.
Hmm.
And they just, like one person DM me and was like, I really enjoyed your podcast about the artist journey and I related to it. I had no
Hmm.
idea who this person was. And that's how you create a network, right?
Yeah.
That was the intention of the podcast, is bring on
Yeah.
creatives, explore their journey, encourage more creatives, and then if they are comfortable being on the podcast, bring them on,
Yeah.
and it's a continuous cycle. And that's what I've been trying to do, is just cultivate this foundation, right? And it's all branding at the end of the day. And people
Yeah.
people don't realize, man, like a big thing I want to mention is, I don't get me wrong, like I seen flashy podcasts out there, I seen podcasts with the editing, the Photoshop,
Hmm.
the music, and that's great and all. And I commend them on their abilities, but don't let that intimidate you if you have a podcast in mind. Like for
Hmm.
myself, I'm in the circumstance that I'm in. You're in Ottawa, I'm in Toronto. So even if I wanted to have you in person, I couldn't, or
Hmm.
it would be very challenging. I'll probably get you like once every 6 months, a year if I'm lucky.
Hmm.
So what it is that like I was saying to a previous guest, I enjoy the Zoom call. It gets the job done,
Hmm.
gets the message across. People
Yeah.
don't really need fancy editing. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
man, they want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't want it. They don't want to hear
Yeah.
like Drake's music in the background while you're
Yeah.
talking. You know what I mean, man? They want to hear like from the heart. Like, what do you believe in, and what
Yeah.
does Christian believe in, and is there a little bit of a friction, right? So
Yeah.
I just want to like throw that out there because I think a lot of creatives struggle with that courage and
Man.
that push, man. Like I always told you from day one, brother, show up.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the hardest part,
That's
is
the
showing
hardest
up.
part. Yo. People don't get that. People don't get that. You just show up. Just don't care about like what your performance will be. Just be there. That's it,
Exactly, brother.
and
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. But let's take the artist journey, man, because I was listening to your podcast. I
Hmm.
don't listen to the full thing because I just don't have the time.
No, no, for
But
sure.
like,
Yeah.
but when I do listen, I love the artist journey, and I think, and like, I'm always real. So one big thing that I love, like I'm sure I spoke to you a lot about, is like rappers, man. I love artists. Like I myself, what like I am still an artist, but like just a different type of artist now.
Of course. Yeah.
But most artists are like entrepreneurs, and I think most of them don't see themselves through that lens.
I never did. Yeah.
That's just the hardest thing artists don't understand. Like you said, you are a brand, you are a product that you're selling.
Hmm.
So I never understood why people didn't take their artistry as a business side of it. And like, so yes, it's very interesting because like I listened to, you had a great interview with this I forgot her name, but she
It
was
was it
good.
was a girl. It was a girl.
Yeah, she was great. No, no, yeah, she was
Uh,
good. You guys worked together at a
um.
short film. She was
Oh,
talking about her
Malika.
Malika. Yes, yes,
Malika.
yeah, yeah. That was really good, man. I
Yeah.
encourage
Thank
everyone
you.
to listen to it
Yes.
because she was talking about her parents not really
Yeah.
being a big fan of her being an actress because they're like parents of immigrants. So what the heck? You go to acting? How you gonna
I
pay
know
your
it's true.
bills?
Yeah. How you gonna pay your bills? How you gonna do anything, right? And
Oh man,
we've talked numerous times, and
yeah,
you've been more than supportive. Like just
hmm,
reminding me, because a big thing for me, right, buddy, is like
yeah,
once the parents are supportive, then you start running into that trap. Is it's a lonely journey, and you start
hmm,
looking on Instagram, you start seeing people reaching different milestones, and you're saying, should I, kind of
Mhm.
pivot? And I remember you having these conversations, because I'm going through that a little bit of that moment
Mhm.
myself. But I just go back to like conversations where I have friends like you, and you just reminding me like, buddy, that's the grind, man. That's the sacrifice, right?
Yes.
But also you remind me, I
Yes.
should say, is like, do you even know what's going on in their head? Like, are they
Yeah.
happy? And then you give me stories, right? Like I do with you about, experiences that you've gone through, or people, that, it's not all fun and games on the outside, man. Like there are people that, you don't want to, and when you tell me, I was like saying to myself, like those stories, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, cause
Yeah.
we laugh about it, but
Yeah.
those people are suffering. Right. So
Yeah, man. And like you'll never know. You will
I
you
think
will
it's,
never
yeah,
know.
I think it's
But yeah.
important. I just think it's important that we like, keep headstrong and keep committed. And that's what I want to bring up with you, like, with this whole lockdown and how things have been.
Mhm.
Um, like how have you handled it like so far with this new lockdown? Has it affected you in any way, or is it just business as
Yes,
usual?
man. Big
Oh
time,
yeah?
big time,
Yeah.
big time. Of
How
course,
so,
of
man?
course. So I'm trying. I have a early stage tech company that I've been trying to
Right.
launch to the ground for the last couple years, man. Like
Yeah.
I started in 2019. 2020 was supposed to be the year where I have my MVP out and try to
Right.
see if it's actually worth pursuing. And I couldn't do it because most of my business was a social component of it.
Of course.
So now like this new lockdown, I was like, okay, well, if this is lockdown right now, more than likely there will be a lockdown next year because let's be quite honest, it's mutating. You know, it is mutating. Look at India. They
Yeah.
don't
Do
have.
you
Go ahead.
Sorry, just want to interject. Are you referring to like now being next year? Like you believe in 2022?
Yeah, I believe in 2022
Oh
there could
wow.
be a lockdown, man. Like, They're talking
Yeah.
about they're talking about a fourth wave
Yeah, and they're even
in
talking about
September.
more. They're even talking about like getting a shot every year. Like Pfizer
Yeah.
CEO is already telling money in the bank, right?
Yeah, like exactly that could
Yeah,
that could be it too, but we don't like exactly we do not know. We do
yeah.
not know.
So
So
sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying, man? Continue.
so
Like,
so for me it's like okay, well, I can't even do this anymore because what will be normal if everyone gets vaccinated? So I had to pivot. I had to pivot my business. I had to pivot my thinking and just understand like this is what my new normal is, and I just gotta agree to it and come to terms with it. So it's been tough because coming to terms with things, because being told like, hey, like this is only a short while, things will be back to normal. Then not seeing it's coming back to normal within 6 months. Then being outside for what 2 weeks, then being told to lock down again. You're like shit. Like I guess normal is being at home, and that's what it
yeah,
is.
man.
It sucks. It sucks. But like for me, I'm very lucky and blessed. But I would hate to
Of course.
be a kid right now, like in middle school, going
Oh
through this
yeah.
whole thing. Like that's
Or just like I said, someone that's like moved out or like can't pay their bills, doesn't have the most
yeah.
stable job. You know what I mean? Like just or in an industry, right? That
Oh
you're
man.
an you're in accounting finance, right? Let's just talk
Yeah.
about people that are maybe in the more creative industry that just can't do anything, right? You feel
Yo.
for them, man. My heart bleeds for them. So
Oh man. But here it comes to it, man. This is why it's so important
yeah,
for them to have an entrepreneurship mindset. It's like
it's so true.
no one. Here's the thing. This is why I love artists, man. Like when I think about you guys, because sometimes I just love seeing people do their art, like acting, drawing,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
music. I'm like, man, like this guy's so talented, or she's so talented, or he or they, whatever the pronouns are, so talented.
Right.
Their issue is that they don't see themselves as a business person. They just see themselves as an artist, and that's just
Yeah.
gonna restrain them for the rest of their life. Because as you know, one of the biggest ways to succeed in business, because business is a collaborative thing.
Yeah,
Art is
it
also
is.
collaborative too.
That's
Most
how you
artists,
accelerate the process too, right?
it,
Like working smarter instead of
yeah,
working your heart out and burning out, right? You want to
yeah,
create a network. That's my biggest thing, man. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, exactly. And like most artists I see that are extremely talented, like because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it on like Imager. I'm seeing it on Reddit. I'm seeing it on Facebook. I'm seeing it on YouTube here and there. Like they live in silos and they
Yeah.
don't have really good social skills, and they expect the audience to come to them and not the other way around. like
Yeah, yeah. Like you're saying, I know what you're getting at, and I think I
like
can
it's
relate to. I
crazy.
I can relate to this point because, like for example, like me and my new discovery about
Hmm.
drawing, like this new
Hmm.
talent that I've discovered, and it's a great hobby.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like I always, I guess the way my brain works is I'm always trying to push it to the next level. Like how do I get this stuff out there, right? So instead of
Hmm.
just like videoing me doing the sketch, I don't know if you saw in Corner Talks, I actually discuss like the
Hmm.
inspiration behind making
Yeah.
it, and it gets me comfortable with the camera. But also, anyone that loves art or anyone that wants to know who I am as a person will watch that, and that's what they need to know. And I guess
Hmm.
my point being is my intention is it's the brand. It's all about the brand. That's why 94 Productions was created.
Yeah.
Because with filmmaking, you and I both know, like originally the dream was, to become like the next Tarantino, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, how do you get to that point? This isn't the 1980s. You
No.
gotta work backwards, right? And for me, I noticed a lot of production companies being made, and I could never understand that. Like, how do you have a production company if you don't have a red camera and the lighting and
Hmm.
whatever? And then I realized, like, no, the production company is you. You are the
Hmm.
production company, right? And then you show up, and then you partner with other production companies, being collaborators.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why, for any, just a side note, I know I'm plugging in 94 Productions, but
Yeah.
that's why I created that. For that idea, what you just said about leveraging your artistic talent.
Man.
You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of these people
Man.
on Tumblr, like the people that you're seeing, obviously we don't know what they're doing or what they're going through, but
Hmm.
you always have this like this inclination to message them and say, hey, like you should be, I don't know, like putting like getting out there and like talk about your artwork, or just put like a
Yeah.
caption, or just expand, like do something different, do a podcast just
Yeah.
talking about like inspirations and arts. And yeah, this is just, that's where my mind kind of goes. And yeah,
Man.
I've always been like that. And yeah, I never really discovered, I never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur. I don't really call myself one either. I say I have those tendencies, or I have that mindset. And the only reason why I don't say that is because I believe in calling myself one when I start to see like businesses being formed, like results and stuff. But in terms of like the mindset is you definitely, and I think nowadays you have no choice if you really want to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, comes back to it. Like, you're a business. That's what they don't get. Your art is a business.
Yeah.
And like, the quicker they learn it, the better it is. You need to have, like, I hate to say that word, but you need to have a shtick. You need to have a little
Shtick,
gimmick
yeah.
that
Yeah.
people will want to stay and actually watch you do your work. And like, it kills me. Here's what I think that kills me too, man, is actors, man. Like, I'm seeing, like, I watch a lot of things. Like, I've seen like a lot of shorts from different
Right.
creators and stuff, and I see these actors. I'm like, this actor's really good. Like, why is this actor doing more shorts? Why I don't see this actor doing all these certain things? And I do a bit of investigation. I'm like, oh, this actor thinks like all I gotta do is just act, and people will come and watch me act. I'm like, last time I know, that's not how the world works.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
no one's going to save you. Like, can you put that as a timeline? No one's going to save you. You to
No
save
one's
yourself.
going, no one's going to save
Yeah.
yourself, bro. Yeah,
And
it's
like, anyways,
it
man,
no,
I'm
no.
dragging this issue, but like, I think it's such an important thing. Like, artists
Well,
need to learn.
you've always been passionate about
Yeah, man.
always been passionate about artists and people that's going to film school. I know that for a
Like,
fact since I've known
yo,
you. And it's not to be condescending. Like, you have to know my boy
oh,
Christian. He studied accounting, finance, but he's also a producer at heart, and he just
yeah.
knows what it
I
means to
s-
like
I
run a
study film.
business.
I
And
work in the movie
sorry,
industry.
yeah, he said, yeah, that's right. You did study film.
I study film. I work in the movie industry, man. But here's
Exactly.
the thing, like, I network. I spoke to a lot of people. I
I
really
know.
try to understand this business. And one thing I learned is that, like, you can't expect people to find you. You have to be in front of
It's
people.
so true, man. And you know what? I should say though that people will, because my whole biggest thing of like putting stuff out there, your audience will find you. But I think when you and I talk like that, what we mean is that you can only network so much. And then what it is the market will find you if you're also very good, right?
Yeah, but like, here's the thing, like, networking is great. You always should network, but like,
Yeah.
you need to be out there. And
Hmm.
more of them are not out there. Like,
Yeah.
out there for them is like, oh, I just did this thing and I'll put a post on it. Like, that's not really out there. You need to market. You need to talk to your friends or collaborate with other people so they can use their audience to build your audience as well. But anyways, like, I feel like I'm dragging on this issue. I know you have
No,
other
no, no.
points you
Yeah,
want to
for
talk
sure.
about,
No,
but
no.
like,
I wanted to just like say like on the topic of, the whole pandemic with the lockdown and stuff. I just want to know, like, because I know you're a big advocate about mental health, and
Mm,
especially with young men, and you feel like it's not being discussed enough. And that's something like your business, that was kind of the social responsibility, like the mission
mm,
statement, if you will, that you were kind
mhm.
of after. So how's it been affecting your mental health? Like, are you been coping, or are you finding it challenging sometimes?
Yeah, man. Of course, man. It's hard, man. Like you're so used to one thing, and now you have to adopt to a new thing. It's really difficult. So for me right now, like one thing that's been helping me a lot is exercising.
Okay,
So
cool.
like if it goes like going taking for a walk, going for a run. Now I bought some weights. Now I'm like lifting some weights.
Oh,
So
good.
just like giving myself an hour and a
Nice.
half of just exercising has been
So
great, and that's how I've
important.
been
Yeah.
coping. Another way I've been coping as well is that I've been reading a lot, like a lot of
Good.
news, a lot of business articles, a lot of
Nice.
research papers,
Nice.
just to give myself some me time. But yeah, other than that,
Nice.
man, like talking to people, like especially my guy friends, my male friends, actually open up with them, and we can actually talk to each other and actually see how everyone else is doing. Because sometimes guys don't want to share with their wives or with their girlfriends
Certain
how
things.
things
Yeah.
how things really are.
How things really are in their mind, what they're really going through
Yeah.
half the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, man. So they don't want to say like they lost their job, man. It's really tough.
Oh, so do they know?
They're
Like
asking for
some of them.
advice. Like, bro, man, you gotta have to.
Oh, do some of them,
Well,
like, are they
I
keeping
don't,
it
I'm not
hidden?
gonna I'm not gonna expose anyone, but
No, no, no. Well, I don't know any of you. I don't know who you're talking about. I should mention that I just know Christian in Ottawa. That's the only person I know from
yeah,
Ottawa.
well, people know me and I watch this, so.
Oh, right, 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 right. But
But yeah, man,
I got you,
yeah,
man.
it's tough, man. It's tough because as a man, like we're raised to provide, right?
Of course, yeah.
To
The
our family,
mentality.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Well, especially if you have a
losing.
family, right? That obligation, yeah. Yeah.
Yo, yep, yo,
Because when you're in our
yep.
situation, we have bad days, but those are bad days because, again, you have responsibilities. Our responsibility is at our level, just ourselves. But, when you start going out, you start getting married, you start having kids, there's responsibilities, right? And
Yep.
that's where the stress comes.
There's a price to it, man. There's a cost
Yeah,
to it. People don't think that, man. People. That's why. And here's the thing. That's why I like the whole pandemic thing as well. Is that like you really get to know what people are really made of.
yeah.
You get to see people's real character, man.
Like the
Because
true colors you're saying.
yeah, exactly. Because everything is easy. Everything is easy. We know. Like let's say a Doug Ford, the Dougie. Yo, he looked great when things were working well, right? Like a buck
100%.
of beer. Yo, let's go, Dougie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
let's go.
yeah, yeah.
But now, like, things are like going sideways. Like, you're
The
really trying to
photo,
see.
the photo ops where he would be shaking hands and, like, telling people that he's working hard and whatever.
Yeah,
Now
man.
he's in his house. No one knows where he is.
Yeah, man.
He's making
Like,
emotional speeches and shit. Yeah.
yeah, man. That's what I guess. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a good grace. I guess something like that shares a light is that you're really trying to see. You're really seeing like how people actually are when the times are actually awful and worse.
Yeah.
And that to me is like the best way of actually knowing someone. Like, okay, things are bad. Okay, I guess what can you do to fix it? So
Well, that's why in a way it's wouldn't call it a blessing, but an eye
yeah,
opener
an
for
eye opener. Great way of saying it.
it's an eye opener because what it is that for politicians, like, they need to be exposed because, let's be honest,
Yeah,
a lot of them are crooks and a lot of them
yeah.
don't know what the hell they're doing. And something we discussed very early, I think it was the first podcast, I could be wrong, but they're just human beings. Like, everybody I
Hmm.
know gets wrapped up because
Hmm.
economics are on the line, health, but they're just people. They're not geniuses.
Yeah.
They're not people that know how to get themselves out of those situations. They've just been assigned that job. They've worked towards that, but they're in the same situation we are. And I think we give themselves too much praise and expectation naturally as humans. Like, if they want to be leaders, if we elect you should have that responsibility. But I think a big thing too is for people to just be honest. Like, a big thing that got me upset is, there was no reason to open up for 3 weeks. That's what caused the variants to escalate. And it also screwed with our minds,
Hmm.
for creatives like myself, like my co-producer.
Hmm.
Him and I were both like, should we do production? Okay, let's do it. Like, things are
Hmm.
opening up, whatever, because we just want to get things done, right?
Hmm.
Next thing you know, bro, restrictions. That stupid announcement about getting pulled over for no reason,
Hmm.
doesn't care where you're going, whatever. Freak the hell out of everybody. Next day, sorry, I didn't mean to come across that way. And I'm saying, okay, if you're going to make that announcement, stand by it. Don't go
Mhm.
back on it, because you have people, you're toying with them. No wonder they're
Yeah.
losing respect, and they're losing faith in the government. And when that happens, that's when chaos arises. That's when
Mhm.
people start saying, I don't want to wear the mask. That's where people start saying, I don't want to get the vaccine. It's a lack of trust. So what it is that, I don't mind, like, obviously I'm not too crazy about, consistent lockdowns. But I've been saying from day one, if you're going to do a lockdown, do it like New Zealand. Shut down the country. No one comes in, no one comes out unless it's really essential. Do you know what I mean, man? Like,
I, I
really
I I
keep it.
I know
No,
what
I'm
you
just saying,
mean.
keep it sterile, man. Keep it just like like enough to a point where no one can come in. And, I'm not saying it would completely eradicate the virus, but this whole thing about you're going to open up only when there's 1,000 and then whatever. And it's like, what indication are you getting that it's safe to open? Or if you're getting projections of variants and you're opening 2 weeks before the projection is
Oh
predicted.
man,
Do you get what I mean, man? It's crazy.
yo, we're about to let's go into this. Let's go
Go
into
into it,
this
brother.
because
Yeah, go
like,
into it. Yeah.
okay, have you seen F for Fake by Orson Welles?
Perfect by Orson Welles. No. I've
No,
seen
man.
Citizen Kane. That's the only one
Citizen
I've seen.
Kane.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
When Not Piloted 2 is like the number one movie better than Citizen Kane.
Yeah. Did you hear about that? That's
I heard
crazy,
about
man. I
that.
watched
I
it.
was.
That was
It's
an
hard
E1
to actually.
project, bro. That was an E1
Yeah,
project. Do you remember?
yeah. It is. It is. Yo, weren't you in charge of doing
I
the
was one of
thing?
the guys. I was
Yeah.
responsible for the popcorn bags, bro. I had to graphic design that shit.
Jeez, yo, man. But yeah, like F for Fake, everyone has to watch it. Made by this fantastic like
Yeah.
filmmaker,
Legend, yeah.
Orson Welles, who also made Citizen Kane, like Dan mentioned.
Considered the best movie
Um,
of all time, yeah.
F for Fake, I encourage everyone to watch it. Like, Dan, you have to watch this
So
movie.
what's it about?
It's a video essay. It's
Oh,
about
video essay. Okay.
it's about charlatans,
Hmm.
charlatans, hicksters, fraudsters. It's about experts, and like, okay, I'm gonna give it away because like I think it's such an interesting movie, and I feel like
For
this
sure.
movie talks a lot more, not only about what art, because the movie focuses on art and art forgery,
Okay.
but I think this movie can also be applied to science, into politicians, into everyday life, because what's technically an expert? You know, if you
True.
can make a fool of an expert, is that really an expert?
Mm. I see what you mean. Like
You
these
know,
people that these you're talking about, the doctors that are coming on saying they
like,
know, like, with masks and everything. I
yeah,
Yeah,
like, like look, I'm not gonna say I know more than doctors. Doctors
of
went to
course.
school, they spent
Neither do I.
years of
Yeah.
education.
Of
This needs to be
course, yeah.
said. So I will go to a doctor's for an opinion, but they're not the authority of all opinions.
Mhm.
Like, and that's
But
why this movie, yeah, like everyone has.
I think it's like the biggest thing for me is like people becoming so dependent on everything the doctors say, but there should be a point where it becomes common sense. You know what I mean? It's like if there's a virus that's airborne, respiratory, wear a mask, right? That would
Yeah,
make sense. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a doctor to tell you that. You know how people
yeah.
say like, oh, but technically the doctor said you don't have to wear it if you're this amount
Hmm.
of feet away. It's like just use your common sense. Like, do you really want the virus? Do you want to spread it? No, just wear the mask. But again, this is what I was saying on the last podcast. Between the ego and feeling special, it's just crazy to me. And I get it. It's uncomfortable for people because they're not used to it. And I'm not saying I want to live this life, either, where you're always wearing a mask, you're always being told what to do.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, man, like, we have to get through this. And how do you get through this? Through a community effort. And
Hmm.
it's by agreeing on something together, that
Yeah.
masks are important. But if you have people, I know there's always going to be exception, but if you have people constantly like, I'm not going to wear this, I'm not going to wear that, businesses shouldn't tell me I have my freedoms. It's like, then there's always going to be concerns. We're always going to be on high alert. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing that fears me is, even the doctors and the scientists is, this is nothing. This is like an appetizer of a pandemic. Like people have no idea what a true pandemic is. That 1% of people have been dying, of the population have been dead from this pandemic
In Canada, and
in Canada.
elsewhere is crazier though. Canada's like kind of. Let's be honest. Right now we're like in code red, but before like this month, like we were doing pretty well. Like we weren't
But
doing
there's
awful.
no, no, yeah, we were doing like that's what's crazy to me. I was telling my
Yeah,
sister, like, the beginning of the pandemic, what was it like at most 500 cases a day,
yeah.
and we were like, or maybe even 400, And I remember
Mhm,
even in the summer, the lowest to hit like 100, and everyone was
mhm.
still skeptical. For some reason, when the second wave came, I think it was that, you know, unbelievability, like, wow, we're actually in this and it's getting worse. You know what I mean? Like we can't wrap our heads around it, because no one wants to believe like you're in a dire situation,
Yeah.
especially if you live in a first world
Yeah.
country. And this is what I mean by it's an eye
Yeah.
opener is, you and I both agree on this too.
Yeah.
The universe
Yeah.
doesn't care.
Yeah.
Universe doesn't care where you live, who you
Yep.
are, where you came from, what money you have.
Yeah.
You're just
Yep.
there. You're just a
Yeah.
person in the universe. Like
Yeah.
the virus doesn't care about you. So
Everyone can take an L.
yeah, like, do you know
I
what I
don't
mean?
care.
Everyone, no, but it's true. Life is sacred in that way. But
Yeah, man.
it's the reality, man. Like,
Yeah, man.
too many people. This is what I mean by too many people thinking they're special. And when I hear stories like of that Ontario Olympian, for example, he's
Yeah.
going to bed with a respirator. I'm saying to myself, like, what does that guy have to say?
Mhm.
That I shouldn't have got this. I was healthy. I was whatever.
Yeah.
No, like the virus doesn't know you. It doesn't
Yeah.
care. Yeah, you can take preventative measures like vitamin D,
Mhm.
exercise, not be obese,
Yeah.
but at the same time, man, you can't control it. You only can limit it by listening to things like wear the mask, sanitizer, right? Stay home when you need to, kind of thing. So it's just a crazy kind of situation. A lot of uncertainty.
Man. All I know is like, unlike Joe Rogan, man, I'm not gonna follow Joe Rogan's advice, first of all. But like, I'm gonna get
Yeah, I know. I heard about
vaccinated.
him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get double mask. I'm a double mask guy. I look. I believe scientists. I believe doctors. I just don't think they have all the answers.
Yeah. Well,
It's a scientific method, right? Like they
well,
think
I want to
this is what the
mention.
best way of doing it because through the laboratories and through their testing, but it's not 100% correct, and that's what people are like not realizing. It's like it's an estimation or it's a best guess. It's
So I
not
want to
100%
mention.
accurate. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I want to just sorry. I just want to mention one thing with regards to what you just said about scientists not being 100% accurate. Um, what about this vaccine, man? Because you just said you're going to take it, and I know why you're going to take it, to do your part, be safe. But don't you have reservations that it could have side effects?
Of course, everything has side effects, but
Yeah,
like, yo, it's a
it's do or
gamble. It's a
die.
risk.
It's do or
Yeah,
die,
man.
bro. Yeah,
But that's life. I
I love
drive
it.
a
I love
car.
it.
Like I drive a car. I might get into an accident.
Yeah,
You
knock
know,
on wood. Knock on wood for you,
now
brother.
walking wood.
Yeah,
I walk in the street. A car might run me over. That's part
yeah.
of life, and that's the risk you gotta take. You
No, because
know,
I know people, right, that are not taking it, because big thing for me is that what you just said. They admitted on CNN, like, we don't know, because people keep asking about long-term effects. I'm sorry, but we don't know the long-term
yeah,
effects. We have to see as they go on.
yeah.
And it's like, I guess you're just kind of saying, yeah, let's roll with the punches.
Yeah, man. Yo, you want to be outside, right? You want to go
Yeah,
outside,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You,
No,
you
exactly.
want to
Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
games?
You want to go back to the movie theater where you
Yeah,
belong?
man. You want to go to Raptors Stadium? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
like you gotta
No,
take a
I
risk,
feel you.
people.
I feel you, man.
You
It's
gotta take a risk. Goes back to artist journey. You gotta take a risk.
a lot of people, I have to say, are on the fence. Like, I personally, like, whether I like it or not, I know that it's going to come to a point where you have to take the vaccine. The
I'm gonna
government's
take
being
it.
nice about it
Hmm.
right now, but I know that in order for life to go back to normal or some sort of functionality, it's going to be to a point of, they're not going to outright say you have to take it, but they're going to be like, you can't do this, can't go here.
Yeah.
Small businesses are protesting, saying
Hmm.
they don't want their customers to be wearing a mask when they're in the store. Like, it's just going to get to that point where it's going to be a societal pressure, like with anything,
Yeah.
like with anything about
Yeah, man.
pursuing a career you don't
Yeah.
want, societal pressure.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if we didn't live in a constrained society, we could be doing anything that we want to do. But
Okay.
unfortunately,
And yo, Kate,
what's up?
don't go another layer to this conversation, or do you want
What's
to
up?
keep? Because like we can go another layer of this. Like, when did people have this idea of life has to be fair? I gotta do the things that I want to do in life.
Christian always has to get
Like
deep. I love it.
honestly, I like that's a Western notion, man. Like everywhere else in the world, people gotta do things to survive.
You know what, man? Like, I know we're both guilty of this, because we're human,
Yeah,
and we grew up in this environment. We'd be ignorant to say, "Oh no, I've never felt like life should be fair." We felt that, whether we like it
yeah,
or not, because that's how we're raised. That's how we're
yeah,
wired. It's not like my grandparents, for example, from World War II Italy.
Mhm.
Their mentality is, live one day at a time, and like nothing's owed to you. Like you have to
Mhm.
fight for survival,
Yeah.
literally and physically.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're soft that way, where we do have that mentality. Do we try to, through maturity, realize, things are not fair? Yes. And that's why I've had this conversation with people about, I have this wish in my heart, about conquering my dreams, pursuing my dreams, whatever. But I don't really like take to the people that are like, I'm gonna make it. Like they're just so sure.
Mhm.
Because one thing that life has taught me is that with this pandemic or anything, is life isn't fair. There,
Yeah.
there, there could be so many different factors, so many things that might change for the better, for the worse. You never know. And I think it's healthy to have that mindset, that you have that conviction in yourself, like you can get to a Tarantino level, but to actively say it, to always be like, yeah, 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 to be overly confident is what really like rubs me the wrong way. Do you feel the same way when you're pursuing your task or when you hear that from people, Christian?
No, personally, for me, it's like, look, yo, we're getting really deep here. Like,
We have to, bro.
I don't really care what people have to say because, like, I know me and I know what I'm gonna do and I know how I'm gonna
Right.
succeed.
Right.
Like, if I don't succeed today, I'm gonna succeed tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
it's just already ingrained in me that I'm gonna do what I want to do in my life and I'm gonna get there.
Right.
So I don't really care what people tell me. Of course, people are encouraging me. Of course, I have a lot of supporters. I also have some haters. I have some people behind the scene who are hoping that I don't do so well in
Oh,
life.
really?
Yeah,
Did they
of
reveal
course,
themselves?
man,
Did
of
they reveal? Did
course.
they reveal themselves yet?
Oh no, no, but
Oh,
people
okay.
talk. People
Okay.
talk.
Okay.
People
I
talk.
trust you on that.
I'm sure it's the same way for you now, because
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure people are like, what the heck is Dan doing? Dan thinks
Yeah.
he can do a podcast.
Well,
What a
trust me, like,
loser! I'm
yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. I probably get that. I don't get
Yeah.
the direct
Oh.
message, but I do get. You just feel
Yeah,
it. I know what you're saying, like in the
you're
air.
like, yo,
And it's
someone
not
out
to,
here hates me,
it's not to
and I
call.
love the
Yeah,
fact they hate me. By the way, I think this is
it's
interesting.
not to call. Yeah, yeah. For me, it's more about proving it to yourself that you're doing it, like
Yeah.
being happy and enjoying it. But again, like I don't really know. You just kind of feel it because I think a big thing I should mention is like people, like even though they're not saying anything, they're watching. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's proven so many times because I'll get like the most random message from someone I
Yeah.
haven't talked to in 5 years, and they'll be like, "Hey, man, like this one guy
Yeah.
I used to go to school with in university, messaged me on LinkedIn, bro. I kid you
Yeah.
not, and was like, "Hey, bro, I listen to your podcast like every day. I don't know half the things you talk about. I can't relate with them, but I find them entertaining at the very least."
Yeah.
And I was just like, that was like flattering compliment. But I'm saying, wait, you're listening to it?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Because I'm looking at it as like, because again, I haven't talked to him literally in 5 years, bro. And I'm like,
Oh man,
you're
I'm loving this
listening to the
conversation.
podcast. No, but I'm saying it's
Yeah.
very touching, it's very inspiring. And again, I'm not saying like to the people listening, like, oh, you deep down want me to fail, whatever. I don't know who you are. I don't know who's listening. I'm just saying is, you know, with anything, like you don't know how things are going to pan out. You don't know what people are saying. You can't think about that. You just have to go your
Yeah.
direction. Just believe in what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
Like I love doing these podcasts because I love catching up
Mm.
with you guys, but I love talking about things that I enjoy talking about, like this pandemic, for instance, or I just
Yeah.
enjoy using it as a networking tool, like to get to know more people,
Man,
right?
I gotta say this thing because like let's just stay there. I had this amazing manager, this great mentor, Izzy. I don't know if he listens to now, but shout out to
Sounds
Izzy.
familiar. It sounds familiar.
Izzy told me, man, at the end of the day, I need to look at myself in the mirror and I need to tell myself, and I'm to be happy who I am in the mirror,
Yeah.
and I'm to be happy with the choices I make, and that's all it is. And once he told me that, I was like, okay, bet this is what it has to be. Because in the day, you have to be happy with who you are. You
Yeah.
cannot let other people's opinions sway you. You can listen to other people and hopefully get some constructive feedback from them. But like end of the day, it's up to you. No one's gonna save you. You need to be happy who you are. You keep bringing up like you want to be like Tarantino, which is great. Like I like Tarantino movies, but I'd rather see a Daniel movie, Daniel Calderon
Thank,
movie, than a
thank you, brother.
Tarantino movie because you have something else to say compared to
Right,
Tarantino.
right.
Like Tarantino had his fun, but now man, let's get someone new. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and I find it exciting, for myself, and time will tell that I will be a director coming into the scene with
yeah,
Tarantino's like lessons and ways, his style. but with my own experiences in
Yeah,
life. So it'll create a new form of storytelling and a
man.
new movies, new set of movies. So when you watch it, you're reminded of like that Tarantino-esque kind of look. But at the end of the day, it'll be my look. You know what I mean?
You gotta watch F for Fake, man.
I will watch it.
You have to watch F for Fake because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like if you're an artist right now, that's the movie you gotta watch. It's on
But that's
YouTube
what
right now for free. It's
but that's
great.
what but that's what I've been asking people. Like that's why I wanted to touch back on because you didn't really like answer it or like really say anything. The concept of like the making it and people like being overly confident. Like what's your like you believe like you're going to be successful and I know you are,
Mhm.
but I'm saying is like I know you're all, do you believe in being a bit more reserved or modest about it, or do you believe in just
No,
like telling
man.
people?
Why? Look,
Yeah.
if you feel a way about my confidence, that's an issue with you, not with
Right, right,
me.
right.
Look, you need to feel 100, you need to feel 150, 200% about your confidence because as you know, it's a fucking grind. And there's some
Yeah.
days you don't want to wake up. There's some days you get some negative feedback and negative reviews. And you be like, yo, man, I'm not really that good anymore. I'm trash. Like, why am I doing this? That's why you need to be very confident and sure of yourself. But you also have to give yourself leeway. Like, you're a human being. You're gonna make mistakes, and that's just part of the game.
But
So yeah,
yeah.
like, so am I answering that question
No, no,
directly?
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
What you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to like. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is my
yeah,
biggest thing. What I learned as I come across more artists is there are some that, like they're modest or confident in their own way, but there are also some that it's like, yeah, I know it's gonna work out. Like I don't see another plan, right? And
yeah,
I'm just and like right, and I always believed in no backup plan in order to make it because you have to be
yeah,
that kind of focused. My biggest thing is like, you know, um, if you have those days, right, where you, like you said, you wake up, you don't want to do it, whatever. I
yeah,
think instead of fighting it, I think you just have to accept it. Like no one's perfect and no one's gonna like be consistently like going at it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Okay, you can have an off day here and there, but you shouldn't be
Yeah.
having an off day straight. Like,
No,
you're
no,
gonna
no,
you're gonna fuck up
no.
your whole shit.
Of
So
course,
sorry
of
for
course.
swearing, but
No, no, but you're gonna mess up. You're gonna well, we're gonna mess up your whole consistency, and
yeah,
that's something. I think that's what it is. Is that even when I do have those kinds of like those struggles, you know what I mean? I kind of wake up in the morning and I say I still got to go at it. Like this,
yeah,
like I treat it
but
with responsibility, like accountability,
yeah,
accountability. You
yeah,
know?
but then
Mhm.
when you have those days, this is what you got to do. You just gotta show up.
Yeah, it's true, bro. It's true.
That's all you gotta do.
It's true.
Because as soon as you showed up, you're like, okay, I'm already here. I guess I might as well just do some work.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
already
true,
from
man.
my laptop. Okay, I have the paper in front of me. I might as well read this. Oh, I know who this person is. Let me craft an email so I can like network with them. So you have those days, people. You just got to just show up. Like you don't have to be
You said
like
it, man. You said it. You
100%
said it
there, but
exactly that.
just show up.
That's what I'm trying to tell you is that you know instead of like kind of like taking it and laying over,
Yeah,
you just like you said, show up, and even if it's something small as reading or writing down a thought, or
yeah,
just put your mind in the workplace,
yeah.
in the work setting, and that mindset really,
Mhm.
and just kind of like hustle away because one sentence turns into a paragraph, turns into a
Yeah,
page, and that's what I was trying to explain about teach you about writing before, right? Is
yeah.
that's how I
Yo,
keep,
that
people
that's
ask me about writing. Yeah, no, because I've written like a
hard.
bunch of
Yeah,
short films like in the last year, and people always like are like, how do you do it, or like how do you even have the stomach for it? And for me, man, it's just like you just show up.
yeah.
And like even yesterday, I'm developing a project with a friend, and I approached the page like blank minded, like I didn't know what was going on, and then as soon as I started writing a sentence, it just unlisted, you know?
Okay, perfect. You know what? Let's stay this topic because
Yeah,
you said something here. You know, being confident, being sure of yourself,
yeah.
and like going through the journey. Okay, do you think people want? Okay, when people are for a journey, how long do you think people actually think their journey should last? Because I think some people have this crazy notion that they can wake up one day and become like instantly rich, instantly famous,
Yeah,
instantly make it. Like,
yeah. Well, no,
can we
but
talk about?
we
Go
can, we can.
ahead.
Okay, let me go in there because let me take this chair.
Because I'm sure you're seeing this a lot. Because like the
Well,
people that are
no,
very
I'm
modest. Go ahead.
bro, the reason why I say again, you and I both guilty is because I know our characters and I know that we've had
Mm,
those experiences ourselves and we kept ourselves accountable. That's the difference.
mm,
But what I'm saying is that like I remember with you, you explaining to me about like, just recalibrating your life and accepting like something that you are maybe not interested in at first, and you have to kind of adjust your journey, you know what I
mm.
mean, and see it differently. Reverse engineer. That's
Yeah.
what you mentioned to me. And so what I'm saying is that like even though we still had those moments of, oh, I thought it would happen by now, right? Like
Yeah.
that Netflix pitch. Remember that? We
Yeah.
were like
Yeah.
hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That day I got the news, I was like feeling like crap. But
hmm
I woke up the next day and I'm like, hey, I got to keep
No,
going
man.
because Netflix
Yeah.
isn't going to give a shit. In fact, I
Yeah.
use that as fire because I said to myself one day, I'm going to, tell my story in an interview and said, I submitted to you guys when I was 25. You
Mm-hmm.
guys didn't pick me up.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll have that, right? Like that rebuttal. So I think it's just I think the biggest thing is people, yeah, of course, they expect with social media. I'm guilty of it. I see
Yeah.
on social media, oh, I should have been maybe at this milestone. I'm starting to realize, everyone has their own path and no one
Man.
is the same. And I know it's cliche to sound, but I always say this, man, no formula to success. No
Yeah.
matter what story you hear, Tarantino, Scorsese, any of these guys you like, no one has that same story. Because if they
Yeah.
did, everybody would be doing the same story and everybody would be ridiculed if they faltered.
Yeah.
So the thing with me is like, this is what I mentioned about like knowing that you're going to make it and being overly confident. I think because it's so unformulaic,
hmm
right? It's both exciting and terrifying. The
Yeah.
reason why I believe in myself is because I know I have a shot. I
hmm
know what I can do and I know it's just a matter of time kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's terrifying because light the path to success is not linear as we know,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
down, up.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to mention is that I believe
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a point what you told me I'm at, where when you start, you're like this at a peak. And because I'm consistent, I'm doing it. I'm right now at the bottom.
hmm
Does that make sense? I'm right
Yeah.
now at the lower part where I'm not seeing anything. I'm the only thing that's keeping me motivated is myself.
hmm
There's that graph of motivation. Have you seen it? It's like a linear, it's like you start
Yeah.
off like at a peak and then you're
hmm
like, and then you plateau low
Yeah.
for like a long period of time. And then if you're able to stick it out, that's when you'll
Yeah.
peak again.
Man. And see right there, we provide so much value because like I'm already picturing like a young 20-year-old man or girl, whatever pronouns they are, starting their journey. They're thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make it big tomorrow. No, man, this is gonna
Yeah.
be for some people it's gonna be a 20-year journey. Let's be
Yeah.
quite honest.
Not
Because
everyone's a
life
Billie Eilish.
exactly. And
Yeah.
she's a plant. You know how I feel about her.
Yo, yeah, yeah. I love Christian. Like
Yo, she's a
like I've seen her
plant, bro.
documentary. I don't know. Like I have my
You have any
opinions,
doubts?
but I have my doubts. I have
Come
my
on,
doubts.
man. You're a filmmaker. You know how to tell stories. You know how to get craft this shit, man. Shit doesn't make sense to
Man,
me. None of
it
this makes
doesn't make
sense to me.
sense. I know.
Uh,
But
but
what were
anyways,
we saying? Yeah, what were we saying, man?
Shamat Paratia. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. He's
Shamak
like
Buddies, yeah.
a entrepreneur. I guess he is entrepreneurial, but he
Okay.
is a big investor. He does a lot of SPACs, which is like basically bringing in companies to the and making them public.
Right.
And he was asked for advice, to help, people, entrepreneurs, people trying to start businesses. And he was talking about companies that have like a high or rapid growth, you know. And he said this thing, and I think this thing can be applied to anything because I think it's very valuable.
Yeah, for sure.
He said like what people don't understand is like the quicker you reach success, the quicker you lose success.
Mm, makes sense.
If it takes time for you to build and grow, that amount of time will also be the same amount of time it'll take for you to fail as well.
So you're saying there's an advantage of having a slower pace.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
Big
man.
time. Because it's hard to take down businesses that took a long time to be built.
Yeah.
Let's be quite
Solid
honest.
foundation. Yeah.
And that's part of life. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be rich tomorrow. Yeah, the thing about being rich tomorrow, you're gonna lose all your money tomorrow too, man. Like that's just part of it.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks about the upside. No one thinks about the downside. But it's very fascinating that they talk about this like just like graph, because it is a real graph, and that graph applies to anything in life, like a new skill, relationships. You're like
Well, that
you're like,
first
oh man,
year, right?
yeah,
Relationships, you know me, what I was telling you,
yeah,
right? The honeymoon phase. But it's the reality, man. Like
yeah,
after that, once you get past that 6 month, a year
yeah,
mark, they say, that's when
yeah,
the true colors show. And that's when you
yeah,
start to say, do I really want to be with this person?
yeah,
Right? Because they get comfortable, you
yeah,
get comfortable yourself, and
yeah,
flaws come out.
yeah,
And then shit gets even scarier because if
yeah,
you pass the 2, 3 year mark, you become attached if you're with the
mm,
wrong person, a toxic person, and
yeah,
the rest
and
is history.
and let's just present our relationships to a craft, right? Like
Yeah.
let's say, like, okay, let's talk about drawing, for instance. I've seen one things I love to see. I love to see people like doing TikTok videos when they're age of 5 to age of 6 to what they're currently at right now in drawing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Like I love seeing that progress. I'm like, oh, look at this guy. This guy actually stuck to one thing and actually became like a lot better to that craft. Um, what I also want to see as well is that I want to see people that start drawing age 5 and stop at age 6. That's what I want to see.
Oh, and why is that,
Like,
bro?
well, because like I want to know like what their process was to make them stop drawing. Did they
Mm.
find it was too hard? Did they
Oh, you're
thought
saying
like,
you're saying the artists out there that haven't really are known for their art. They're just you just want to like see that year that they've tried it out, but then they stopped and why they
yeah,
stopped.
yeah? Because I'm always curious about, because
You're
like,
curious about the other guy. Like, why did you
yeah,
stop?
why did you stop? Because like
Yeah.
that's why I find so fascinating, because age 5 you all have the same technique. Like you don't learn anything new in age 5. But the more you build your craft, the more you learn new things, a quicker way of doing things. Oh, look, I can do this shadowing this way. Like, what made you stop? Because compared to your peer, they're the same part as you, the same position as you. I find that very interesting. I find that very, very interesting. Tyler the Creator also had a great interview where he spoke about like when he made music when he was 15. Okay, Vince Staples also spoke about it as well. It's like they were completely trash. But the reason why they
Oh.
kept going is that like everyone else that was age 15 was also trash. Like, you know what I
Okay.
mean? So for them,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not gonna kill myself because I'm
But some
supposed to be trash. Like,
but sometimes, and that's what I wanted to mention is first of all, I want to mention 2 points. It's okay, by the way, anyone listening, like if you change your path or you don't want to draw anymore, like there's that humility.
yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
biggest thing, man, because you might change your path, man. You never know. You
Mhm.
already told me before the podcast about, how you're
Editing,
pivoting.
yeah, yeah.
But what I'm saying is I think the biggest thing is the ones that, you know, they quit and then they're like bitter or like they don't know what happened. I think the best ones, the most healthy ones are the ones that have closure and say, I'm focusing like I have, you know, uh, people that maybe are focusing on their family, right? They're
Mhm.
more interested in creating a family. I respect that because they're honest with themselves and there's nothing wrong with that. There's actually a strength. The big thing for me is I always had a hard time is I would run into creatives that they wanted the dream just as bad. I'm putting in as much work as I can to the point of being exhausted. And that person on the other end is just saying, but you don't know. You don't know. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, of course you don't know. I don't know either. It's a risk I'm putting in the preparation and the time because that's how much I believe in it. But if I keep saying I don't know, of course nothing's going to happen. Do you know what I mean, man?
Mhm. Sorry, I had to write down this point. So like, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the camera, but I had to write down this point.
Yeah, write it
Yeah, like, because
down.
like people don't get this. Once you get there, you're gonna be working 5 times as hard to stay there.
That's what I gotta tell
So
myself, man. That's what I gotta tell
yeah,
myself.
and, and,
Every
and that's
time,
like
Christian hears, when's it gonna happen? That's what he's
like
telling me, bro.
it's like, yo, once you get there, you're gonna have to work 50 times as hard to stay there or to get to the higher level, because there's always a higher level to this shit. And
100%,
like,
man.
and people don't get that. People are like, oh man, I'm just gonna like, it's hard now. Like, of course it's hard now, but it's not gonna get easier. It's not
Yeah,
supposed to be
man.
easier. It's supposed to stay hard. But that's why the reward is so worth it, because once you pass that threshold, the reward you get is gonna be worth the whole work. So,
Yeah, man. And
anyways,
you gotta keep the brand alive, even when you do make it. But I think
yeah,
back, before we leave, back to your point is is if you keep consistent and if you take the time to build that foundation, and if it's longer than the person next to you. Don't look at the person that's getting it quick. Look at
Yeah,
yourself that's taking that time, that gradual time.
yeah,
You're right.
man.
I prefer the gradual time because you'll have more
Trust me.
experience,
Yeah,
tenacity, and durability that when you do get to that peak,
yeah,
you'll know on your feet how to get out of a bad day, how to get out of this situation, how to get out of that situation, how to overcome it. The person that, speeds by within a year to the top, they're not going to, when they get hit on their ass, they're not going to know how to get out of it,
man.
because it's too fast.
Too fast. And okay, let's just do one point because like that's something I wanted to talk to you about because I found out so very
Always
fascinating.
one point. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sorry,
What's up?
sorry, like
No, no, no,
I don't
no, no.
want to
Yeah.
drag
Yeah.
this over too
Of
long,
course.
but
Of course.
like we like people listening, you gotta pay the artist what they're worth. You
Pay the
gotta
artists what they're
pay
worth. Yeah.
what the worth is. Stop not paying artists for what the worth is. And I'm not saying artists, that includes chefs, that includes laborers, that includes any type of artist. I'm
Yeah.
using artists. Okay, you know what? Let me not use artists. You gotta pay people what their worth actually is.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say why I'm bringing this up because like this is something this is a conversation I'm having with multiple groups of people. Like Dad, I don't think we had dinner together recently. We never had dinner together. Like, I guess we had dinner at Boston Pizza, but that wasn't really a dinner
Oh
dinner.
yeah, we had
But
like a
like
beer,
when
but
I go out,
when
yeah,
you come to Toronto, we'll definitely be
yeah,
chilling.
we
Yeah.
we definitely going out and
Yeah,
have dinner.
a proper hangout. Yeah.
Yeah, so like when I go out, like and I go to a restaurant, I don't mind spending the money
Yeah.
because I know that's what it's actually worth. Because this chef that's making my dinner,
Mm.
it's not like it's just a fry cook, like going to McDonald's,
Or like a Baton Rouge, like some guy they hired
Baton
off
Rouge. Like the
for high school.
guy,
Yeah.
the guy spent the guy or the girl, whatever the pronouns are, they spent time to learn this craft or this skill. So like when I go to restaurants and I spend some money in like a steak or like some type of like dish, like a curry or something, I know going in like this is gonna be the best curry that I may have from that person, and it's worth that dollar, not because the price of the curry or the price of the steak, is because of the knowledge and know-how of making that steak. That's what you're paying for. And I was trying to convince people the same exact way you pay to see an artist, in concert, the same exact way you go see a film, you're paying the price of what it actually is worth. So, anyways, I feel like that's such an important point. So, like, people out here who want to support artists, support people that do businesses, you got to pay for what it actually is worth, and don't complain about the price. Because if you complain about the price, then don't pay and don't enjoy it, and don't
But yeah, and that's why like I see a lot too, like starting a business, you learn all these ins and outs, right? And you're
like,
still learning. But a big thing for me is being confident about my rate.
yeah,
And just having that dialogue. Like I was telling my friends early on, like I have to, you know, it's uncomfortable because I first time I've ever,
yeah,
said, hey, this is my price. But
yeah,
I like doing it because you have to develop that
yeah,
exterior. You have to develop that courage to say, hey, like if I do this for you, this is how much it would cost. And
yeah,
not everyone's gonna like your price. And if they want to negotiate, that's fine. Some people don't even answer back. But the thing with me is like, because you do your research, like you just said, you figure out, you say, okay, can't charge, in the thousands, not there yet, but I think this price will do. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And what it is that, if they're not going to be accepting for whatever reason, that's not a personal attack. You can't convince them.
yeah,
That's can't be convinced. You know what I mean? Like this is your work. You showed them the portfolio. It's up to them now, right? And a big thing for me is like if we're in the digital age, it's so vital to have that marketing backbone. The big
yeah,
thing for me is like, I wouldn't, you're right. If I didn't know marketing, if I didn't know videography, photography, I would hire someone to take care of that. But that happens to be my expertise.
mm-hmm,
But guess what? When it comes to, acting or lighting or sound, do you think I'm the one buying the equipment and saying, don't worry, I could do it. I could do it. No, I'll spend the money like the sound guy
yeah,
on the production. He tells me his price. Okay, we negotiate. He does a
yeah,
deal. Beauty. But the reason why I do that, I don't fight that or I don't say it's okay, we'll find someone else, is because I know how important that is. And if you
yeah,
spend the money when you make the film, when you're editing, it won't come across as shit. So
yeah,
when I show Christian, he'll be like, "Why is there muffling and like a whole bunch of bullshit in the background?"
yeah,
And I don't have a poor ass excuse like, "Bro, but he was gonna charge like 500." It's like
yeah, man.
spend the money, bro.
Yo,
Spend the
man.
money, right?
That is so 100% true. And like like I don't know what else to add to it. People like because people think, oh, it's just oh he's gonna press record. No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no. There's a lot of knowledge and know-how, and that's what you're actually paying for. You're not paying for the equipment. You're paying for the knowledge and know-how. You're not paying for the steak. You're paying for the knowledge and know-how of cooking the steak. You're not
100%.
you're not paying for this designer clothes. Like you're paying for the knowledge and
And
know-how
that's
of making
and then
style.
and that's what I
Like
was trying to tell a friend is like with the 94 collection, you know, you're only going to get to a certain amount of sales, right? Like my
yeah,
buddies, including yourself, like you've been supportive, some people I know, but your sales are going to cut off eventually, and
yeah,
you're going to have to worry about the people beyond that threshold. And
yeah.
the only way to get to that is building the brand. And it's not
Mhm,
anyone's fault, you know, like people want the money too fast. People want to see hundreds of sales. But I'm self-aware enough to realize that the 94 collection is just an extension of who I am. And who's
mhm.
Daniel Calderon? Well, you got to build it up. Once you
Yeah.
build it up, then people might tune in and say, hey,
Mhm.
I'll buy it. I like representing, what he's doing. Like I like the vision. But until you get to that point, you have to work for it, man, right? And that's with
Yeah.
anything.
And
Okay, man.
and and if you pay for like a $15
Yeah.
dinner and it's shit, you pay what it was worth.
You pay,
So
yeah, you know what? If you pay a high like money, let's be honest. There's sometimes when it's overpriced, right? There's a lot of things that's
oh, it
overpriced,
could
and
be
we can agree on
overpriced too.
that.
It could be overpriced too.
But I know what you mean. If you go to,
Yeah,
but I think if you go to a place that has a reputation, like if you're going to a restaurant that has a good chef,
yeah,
you expect like
yeah,
top notch. And if it's not, you send it back because
man.
you expect it. It's a brand.
Yeah,
Like I said,
yeah,
Tarantino. When I watch that film, I'm not expecting horror movie. I'm not expecting action movie. I'm expecting Tarantino movie.
yeah.
And you got to commend the guy, no matter how his films are subjective. People like him, hate him, whatever. He is who he is, balls to the wall,
Mhm.
crazy, and he puts it out there for the world to see. So you will forever be my hero, Tarantino. And yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And
looking
everyone
forward
check
to it.
out 94 Brands. Check out Perfect.
Thank
I'm
you,
telling you, man. Like
thank you,
people
brother.
need to watch that movie. Favorite movie, man. It in the palm.
Yes, 100%, man. All right, man. Yeah. So on that note, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast again, Christian Alphonse. Always gets very intense, very juicy, in-depth conversations about
Yo, man.
entrepreneurship and the hustle. Because I know you feel passionate about it. I know
Yo,
that's what you
man.
do, right?
I'm
And
seeing a lot of people here, man. Anyways,
yeah,
I'm seeing
Christian
a
has
lot of
some
people, man.
stories.
I'm seeing a lot of people.
Christian,
I'm like,
really, really, really.
don't think you're gonna make it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Christian, that's why I love having Christian around. Like,
Oh,
you're very honest and
oh,
genuine, and like,
yeah,
you
man.
you've been following the journey, and that's why you
Yeah,
keep that's why you keep tabs on me, and you'll say things like industry plants, right? You remind me like don't get because you don't want me to like get caught up in that, right? And
yeah.
that's why you send me articles because you want me to be always aware of, don't get caught up in that. And I really appreciate that. You're a good friend, buddy. All right.
No problem, man.
All right. So on that note, man, thank you again for coming on the podcast. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. I hope you took some inspiration from this conversation. We are your friends. We love you guys, and we're all in the same boat. Okay.
Exactly,
So
man.
let's just
Peace,
keep hustling,
everyone.
and keep showing up. All right. Thank you again, buddy.
No
Take
problem.
care.